Hello, everyone. I am your host, Mariana Ferrer, and welcome to our third episode of InterPodcast. Today, our member, Jamie Vazquez, will be talking to us about the stresses of studying. Moreover, he will be showing us some tips and tricks on how to utilize our time to be efficient and how to create studying as a habit. Without further ado, we hope you enjoy this episode.
My name is Jamie Vazquez Madera. To anybody that sees this recording, I am an undergraduate mechanical engineer with a minor in aerospace engineering in my fourth year in the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico Bayamon campus. And as of today, we're going to be speaking of the importance of continuing studies as a hobby. So, when we mention the importance of continuing studies as a hobby, what does that mean? What does it mean to have studies as a hobby? Well, often we let me switch over here to a slide. Pardon for that. So often we see study more as a responsibility. When you see the next slide, you'll notice why we see it as a responsibility and the reasons as to that, and how can we convert that responsibility into a fun hobby, sort of something that we enjoy rather than like a to-do list that we have to always write down, script, and just line out what we do. So to start off, how do we view studies? That was the first question that we had. Well, mostly it's seen as a responsibility that gets added onto our list. Now, we all have to-do lists. We all do that time to time for groceries. Let's say, what do we need to survive this weekend, basically. So we mostly see it just like a simple list that we have to just scratch out everything in order to just achieve our goal, which is a simple routine time to time every week. It can shift our moods depending on the level of difficulty. Now, that for some students, I don't mean all students, there may be some students that handle well their emotions, but for some students, we have when stress gets too high, it starts to alter our state of being, that we can rapidly change from, let's say, happy to neutral to frustrated to sad, and it's a whole roller coaster of emotions, and we don't know how to deal with it, and that's where it gets us. It starts to attack us from so many directions that we barely know how to counterattack it. Now, as mentioned, many see it as a weekly burden. It's something you do each week. You wake up every morning, kind of acting like Garfield. I hate Mondays. That's normal for every student. But it's not so comical for some students or professionals. Mostly when they get up in the morning on Mondays, they see it so depressive that this is the same routine. We do this constantly. Like, when will it change? And there was actually a research that went on by the Association of American Colleges and Universities demonstrated positive and negative effects in their students. For in the liberal arts university, it was actually observed that in high school students, they felt giddy, they felt motivated to actually have that feeling in, like, I'm gonna attend college, I'm gonna be part of what's going on there in the world. This is it. This is the big step that I'm gonna take. And for other college students, let's say third to fourth year, juniors, seniors, even newcomers, they feel excited as well in their head, thinking, "Well, this is it. I'm doing big. I'm working constantly. I'm in associations. What other step can I take? I can meet people." But alas, with the positive side of the magnet, there has to be a negative side of the magnet, and that comes along for high school students, that they felt like they were never going to get in because of the standardized test, and they had that emotion that, what if I don't get in, what if I'm not good enough when I get there? And for the college students, they always felt this heavy weight on their necks, that constantly they have to keep up with everybody else, not only their peers but themselves, because they felt they were not advancing to the next level. When they compare themselves, there was that everlasting thought that they had in the back of their heads that maybe, hey, maybe this isn't, no, this is not for me. And that's what affects us when we view studies. It's been so generalized that we can't get this thought out of our head. So how do we get that? First, we have to understand the psychological effects. Now, what psychological effects could there be behind studies? Because we do work and it's paperwork and we study, we revise everything, but what psychological effects are there behind these? So, to start off, it alters mental state depending on the situation for each student. Hey, we all have different states, we all have different situations. There could be economical situations, political situations, social situations, and so go on to the list. But the most widely known in our region, which is Puerto Rico in this island, has to be the economical situation, which I'm not gonna get so in depth because of the time, but for something brief, the social economical situation is that it's affected so much the students that even for some of them, they have to back away just to remain sane, keep a level of sanity. It affects the productivity of the students. I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of students, especially in this time, in pandemic, the productivity has gone so low from raging in associations where they don't want to do anything because it's been so deep in their head that it affected them, or not doing the coursework on time. These situations are different for each student, and you can see the level of productivity just plummet. And it's really difficult to just observe from a point of view from a tutor and a professional, let's say, professor. It really affects not only their productivity but how we also work, because our students don't want to keep up, they don't want to keep going on, it's just too difficult. Their situations just keep getting worse, and it's always we always have to keep that ray of optimism and happiness just so they can keep going on, because that's the point. We have to maintain an eye on our students. It's really, really important. Now, college staff, taken from a study, we can see that college staff must approach these situations with caution, and if left unattended, it detriments college community. What does it mean with detriments college community? Well, you're going to have all these students and professors be affected gravely by the situations that they feel the need that, hey, you know what, this is too much. I'm just gonna back up, and they leave. And what happens to college? Well, their number plummets, and at the same time, they can't keep up because while the number plummets, there's going to be more demands online and in person, physically. So it just keeps on mixing, and you're not going to have enough to clear those demands. If I would make an analogy, is like when you're first making a business and you don't have enough resources to satisfy your clients, that's exactly what's happening here. You don't have enough, and the numbers keep plummeting, and you won't be able to satisfy demands. Now, work, studies, and such can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depressive episodes. And that's taken from a study online. And you can actually observe, if you were to go to your companion, your peer, your family's home, and you notice them and you speak to them, you can actually acknowledge the level of stress and anxiety. And for some students, I don't know about the professors, but I've had various peers and at least one family member be hit with depressive episodes due to the amount of work that's demanded, and the everlasting thought of the burden that, hey, this is too much. This is a lot of work that I have to keep up. So it's really important, and I cannot stress this enough since I underlined it. It's important to acknowledge any symptoms or situations, following step by step guides, or getting help from others. It doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you less of a person. It's really required that you actually speak it. and seek any professional help. And hopefully, at the end of this presentation, I can provide you with the link necessary to follow step by step on how you can deal with any mental illness, depressive episodes, or anything that's been bothering you lately. A good technique that I recommend for students and professionals is the groundbreaking technique, where you spot different things with your five senses. If I recall, I may be wrong on some of these, but if I recall correctly, you need to see five things, hear four things, smell three things, and hear two things. And the last one, which may sound a little bit weird for you guys, but you need to taste at least one thing, the air, anything, food, to help you get back into reality. But to transform this negative perspective into a positive, we start. What is the question that we need to do? Well, first of all, how do we convert our perspectives on studies? How can we transform this negative effect, take in consideration with all these psychological effects? How can we make it good? Hey, Jamie, you mentioned all of these negative side effects. How are you so sure that we can transform this? Well, easy, don't worry. If we pass on, first of all, we have to create a healthy habit for studies. And we all know that for healthy habits, we have to keep doing it every day. If you break at least one day, that's gonna alter the habit and you're just gonna drift away from the routine. So, taken from the reference, we need to plan the necessary schedules. And what's that? We need to write down exactly what we have to do. Remember the to do list? Well, this time is going to be special. You're going to plan the necessary schedule. Hey, let's say, hey, I need to do this at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I need to work on a fluids project. And you start working and you feel there. And you stay focused until you get a good chunk or at least all of it completed. Set goals to stay motivated and focused. It's important to study, yeah. You have a great schedule. You can have the greatest schedule. But what is the point of a schedule if you're not actually succeeding something with it? You're supposed to reach a goal. Like when you wake up in the morning, you say, you know what? Today I'm going to do such, and you complete it. And that's the goal. So you have to set one for studies. Let's say, in my case, I'm a mechanical engineer. And in Sunday, I want to study thermodynamics too. What's my goal? Well, I want to understand the steam and ranking cycle so I can be able to produce a better efficiency and understand the concept of what it's like to work with cycles. That is the goal. It may be different for everybody, but that's the point. You have to make end goals and treat yourself as well. If you finish a whole day of work, treat yourself to at least a small break or any gift. It's your path. You're doing you. You deserve to be treated. So what's next? Review all of your work before and after. Now, what before? We need to review all of the coursework. We need to see the books. We need to see any notes that we made in class. And we need to review with our any peer, friends, or any family that knows about the topic. It's important to always review these type of things before you go into the battlefield. If you go into the battlefield without a helmet or weapons, you're gonna end up badly injured. So it's important to review before and after. I don't know about you guys, but in engineering, we never trust the calculator's first response. That's always something. I don't know if it's OCD, but we never trust it. We always try to review our numbers with our peers in programming languages. We always try to review it, so that's important. It doesn't affect to be a little bit skeptical about what you get. And the last one, the most important of all, which I see a lot of students, including myself, which is do not overstudy. That is important. Just because you want to create a habit, it doesn't mean you should destroy yourself in the middle of it. You remember to take breaks, at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes, or at least an hour, depending on how you're your mental fortitude holds up, because it's really important to keep these up. Do not over exaggerate with your schedules and mention, hey, you know what? I'm going to pull an all nighter. And I know we've all pulled an all nighter. I pulled an all nighter. If you can't really see it, but I have the little dark things under my eyes and you can see it. I think we all have that. So it's really important. Don't overstudy, guys. Remember, plan your schedules, set your goals, and review all of your work. Now, this is a really good technique, and I know that my companion in the presentation knows about this technique. It is called the Pomodoro Technique. Now, what's a Pomodoro Technique? Well, the Pomodoro Technique is a time management, as mentioned in the picture, method that focuses on applying self-assessment and intrinsic rewards. Now, how does it start? Where did it came from? Well, in my perspective, since I'm in a family that is mostly in the medical field, a lot of med students utilize this technique because it helps them focus 100% of the time. In the medical field or any field, you need to be focused, but more in the medical field because this is a lot that you have to be reviewing. You have to be up to date and you have to be competitive. So what do we do in the Pomodoro technique? Why is it called the Pomodoro? Well, simple. It's called the Pomodoro because it symbolizes that a Pomodoro. Step one, you have to decide on the task to be done. So what do you want to do today? Well, in my field as well, in engineer, but not only engineering, let's say I'm in the creative team in ECHOS, Estudiantes Comunicadores del Sur. So I want to get done today a video. So that's the first task that I want to get done. So along comes step two. Set the Pomodoro timer to N minutes. And what's that? What's N minutes? Well, N symbolizes any amount of minutes. You can set it to 40 minutes, to 60, an hour, but don't go overboard. The maximum I say is 1 hour. Traditionally, it's 25 minutes for those who are quick on their work, but I say 30 to 40 minutes. In my perspective, I say 45 minutes, and then you take a break of let's say 7 minutes. And that comes along with step three. Work on the task until the timer rings. Record with an X, and that's important. Later on, after the Pomodoro technique, I'll explain an app that helps you with this. But always have a list that you mark with an X. Hey, I did this. Okay, I have the first step done. And then I go on to the next. But it's important. During these moments, when you're in the Pomodoro technique, whatsoever, do not grab your phone. You put it in airplane mode, or you let your friends know, hey, I'm studying, but the phone goes down. No social media, no nothing, no books, not even looking to the sides. The only thing you should be worried about is what's in front of you. And step four comes along, which is take a short break. Like I said, don't go overboard. You are studying, you're focused, 100% focused, but you should take a break, which is 3 to 5 minutes. In my case, I take a 7-minute break because I set the timer to 45 minutes, which is a little bit more. It's doubled the traditional. So, yes, it's important to take breaks. Remember that. And as read in the middle, after 4 Pomodoro, take a longer break. After 4 sessions of Pomodoro, you should always take a break that's usually longer so you can relax and gain back that focus that you utilize. If I were to compare it, it's like when you're doing, for those in the engineering field, which you're going to hate me when I say this, when you're doing a stress and strain comparison, when you realize that test on an object, it starts to break. And that's when you take that long break. Because if not, you're just going to break apart. So how do I do this? There has to be an easier way of just me doing it with the timer of my phone. Oh, well, that's simple. There are already multiple programs that do that. You can do it either in a platform, online, on computer, on a server, like my companion does. Or you can utilize Flora, which is an app that I'll get more into it later on. An app that allows you, that gives you the facilities to actually measure that time, and it helps you. And at the same time, it helps the environment because you can realize any type of donation. So it's a win-win situation for the student and for the people out in the world. Now, moving on, where can I start? Jamie, you mentioned all of these things. That's nice and all, but where do I start? Where do I look? Where's the first step? Well, let me help you with that. Don't worry. The first step is online learning. Now, you're gonna hate me because of this, but when you create a habit, you have to keep it going, even if it means sacrificing summer. We're at a point of our lives that we have to take a big, mature decision and realize, hey, I want to be this, whatever it is. So I have to apply all of my strength, all of my will, and get it over with. Nobody else is going to do it for me. Although I have peers and such, I have to do it for myself. It is my path and none others. So you have to start off with online learning, and there are multiple resources that can help you. There is textbooks, there's Kindle, there's even taking summer programs, internships. But for those who don't want to go that overboard, including in these times in quarantine, there are many platforms that help you. And I'm going to be talking about one today. Now, what's EDX? EDX is by far one of my favorite pages. Dealt with Free Code Camp, and it's really magnificent for those in software engineering or those that want to learn programming. And Coursera and even LinkedIn offers free courses, or in some situations, courses that you can pay. But EDX, for me, in my perspective, has helped a lot. Now, Jamie, what's EDX? You've been talking, you've been going on, you like these pages, but what is it? Well, EDX is a platform published, better yet said, made by Harvard and alongside another university. Pardon, I forgot the name, but Harvard and that university made in, if I recall, 2012, that made these courses available for their students, for anybody in the world to take on as a hobby and start learning. Now, what does it offer? It offers a lot of courses and even certificates for those that want to demonstrate in their curriculum vitae their hard-earned work. Now, what does it range? Well, it ranges from the communication fields for those that are in echoes. You can actually take a lot that helps you. Let's say in the arts field or in Harvard that offers communication courses. And for those in the engineering fields, which just love going overboard with courses with 18 credits and 20 per semester. It offers programming languages. It offers a lot that if I start mentioning them, we're gonna take a lot of time just mentioning these courses. But it has renowned places such as Microsoft, IBM, the University of Michigan, Cornell University, which was for me the first one that I took a course upon, which was Introduction to Engineering Design. Now, what can I gain with this? Well, you can gain the experience and knowledge, and you can have an extra knowledge on something that's not from your area of focus. Let's say if you're a software engineer and you want to know stuff about mechanical engineer or communication or biomedical, you can do so. There's no restrictions. But do remember that you have to at least know the basics of some stuff so you can be able to attend these courses. Now, other than that, if you want to go a little bit more, the web page offers you a way to obtain a certificate, which you can either demonstrate in your social media, but for those who are in college that need to have, you can demonstrate it in LinkedIn under your certificates. And that attracts a lot of people. And why does it attract? Because it shows not only that you are focused in your area and that you're working in college, but you take the time of the day to actually take your breaks, like let's say summer or winter, and just keep going because you're fascinated, you're interested. And that's what people like to see. This student is interested and he just keeps on going. He likes it. And as mentioned, you can acquire knowledge on various topics and just show them off. Hey, working is hard. University is hard. So why do you stay quiet about it? Show it off. Any type of coursework, it doesn't matter what you study. It doesn't matter if it's a short-term associate's or just a certificate. That's hard-earned work, and you should show it off like you deserve to. Now, the platform showcase. Immediately when you enter EDX, this is the first thing that you see. You have access to more than 2,500 online courses from 140 institutions. Start off, you can see in the bottom, you have Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Harvard, which was one of the founders, Berkeley University, the University of Texas, Boston University, and many more. So, how do I sign in? How do I register? Well, easy. You use your institution's email, the one given to you. And why that? You can use your personal, but it's a much simpler that you keep up to date with your institution. And you follow the protocol to register, and you're ready. Do remember that when you apply to a certificate, you have to demonstrate an ID and a picture of yourself because they need to verify if it's really you. It's always important to adhere and read first the policy, the honor code. For those out there, just because it's online doesn't mean you can cheat through. There's no cheating. Hard-earned work doesn't equal cheating. Remember that.
We hope you enjoyed that episode with Jamie Vazquez about creating studying as a habit. If you wish for a follow-up or more of our content, remember to subscribe at our channel and also follow us at our social media at EcosUIPR. We hope to see you then.